it is a competitive world in WWE right now. The women's division is bigger than it's ever been. How hard is it to be patient sometimes or to get to that one storyline or that one match that kind of propels you back up into the spotlight again? Because there is an ebb and a flow of it, right?
Mhm. Yeah, there's definitely an ebb and a flow. When you're here in WWE, especially now with the roster being so stacked and us having so many talented women on the roster, I feel like now it's a point where you don't know who's going to be on WrestleMania, who's not going to be on WrestleMania. So everybody's trying to fight their way to get on the show, or like you said, to just get a storyline or to get in that feud. And it can be tough, but I feel like a big part of this business is being patient and just waiting for your time when it comes. And sometimes it comes quickly. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but I think the key is that everybody has their own journey. You can't compare your journey to someone else's. I like to look at, me for an example, when my first year on the main roster, I was main event at WrestleMania, I was champion. And then you look at someone like Liv Morgan right now, who she got on the main roster maybe 2, 3 years before me. And now she's been doing amazing things along the years, but now this has been her biggest year. Or, look at someone like Bailey, who's been champion throughout the years. She's been very consistent, but she had a big Royal Rumble WrestleMania moment last year. So a new up and comer like Tiffany, who is hitting the ground running very early on. So everybody has their own journey. But if you're in WWE and if you're on this women's roster right now, that's just a testament that you're meant to be here and your time is going to come, and you just have to be patient because it's going to come. But like you said, it's ebbs and flows. One minute you're on the mountaintop, and the next minute you're fighting to get back to the top, and it comes and it goes.
Right. I mean, you're one half of the women's tag team champion right now. You had a 420-day record-setting reign that is still the longest in history as women's champion. Do you have a preference? Do you like working in tag team or do you prefer singles?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I was so used to being a singles competitor. I was so used to just going out there and it was just me and my opponent out there. But what I will say, my favorite type of matches are like triple threats and fatal four ways. I prefer those matches over singles matches. So I always like when there's more women in the ring. So I was excited to be a part of the tag team division. I was excited to, go out there and try to accomplish new things I've never done before. I feel like it was going to help me grow as a competitor. And I've grown to love it. I've grown to feel like I'm learning all over again. I feel like I went into this tag team division and being a part of a tag team with a mission and a goal to elevate the division and elevate the women that are in this division. And I feel like we've been able to do that. And now I'm with Naomi and I'm still having fun with it. And so I feel like it's very different though. I feel like I have my husband Montez Ford, who is one half of the Street Profits.
Yeah.
They've been a tag team since the very beginning. So I've been able to rely on him. And I don't really think I have a preference though. Like I've enjoyed being outside the singles picture. I feel like it's a little bit less pressure because you have a tag team partner that you can rely on. You have two other girls that you can rely on. When it's just you, yourself, and I, that gets hard, especially, as the protagonist and the good guy. It gets hard when it's just you, yourself, and I sometimes. It's hard to stay fresh sometimes. So I think switching over to the tag team division was a good thing for me, and I've been enjoying it.
You just said something there that Triple H said at a press conference after one of the PLEs last year. I think it was after WrestleMania. The hardest thing to do in professional wrestling as a booker is to build a super baby face today, right? He said
Yeah.
it's really really hard to do, and you're right. You just touched on it. It's hard to stay fresh and stay over, right? That's
Yeah.
a really hard thing to do in wrestling is stay over.
Yeah, it is. And I think that, when you talk on the terms of like healing babyface, right? I think one of the easier things in my opinion is to go heal, because like it's easier to get people not to like you than to get people to like you and keep liking you and stay fresh. And a good baby face, they need that good heel. And a heel can kind of go out there and do whatever they want. They can go out there and get the crowd to boo them, and then they're like they're doing their job well, or the crowd starts liking them and then people are like, oh, they're just over. A baby face, you can't get either or. You have to get cheered. If you get
That's right.
booed, it's just like, oh, you're either a heel or you're just done. So it does get very tough, but with the baby face, same thing. It's there's ebbs and flows. And so that's kind of what I've been going through. And I feel like I have a very great connection with my fan base, but I've been a baby face the whole entire time on the main roster. So
Like yeah, like
it gets
John
tough.
Cena, right? Like John Cena was the master of the career baby face almost.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe this morning. It's been almost 10 years for you. For some reason, it feels like it hasn't been that long, but next year will be 10 years in this business for you. You think
Mhm.
back, if I'm correct, Mark Henry sort of helped you get your start in this business. Here we are almost a decade later. You have this legacy. You had this incredible run that people will remember forever. Looking back and looking forward, did you ever think you would still be around in 10 years and have accomplished what you accomplished and yet still have so much to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, well, I will say this is the longest job I've ever had, 10 years. I will say time just blurs together here. It sometimes it feels like a long time and sometimes it doesn't. I've been here 10 years, but I've actually only been on the main roster, I think going on five, 5 years or 6 years. I was in NXT for almost 4 years. So but I think I always saw big things for me. I don't think I could have ever imagined the amount of things I've been able to accomplish right now in such a short amount of time on the main roster. I know Simone Biles recently did an interview and she was saying how sometimes it doesn't hit her how much she's accomplished. She thinks like once time passes, she looks back, it'll hit her even more. I think it might be the same for me, but I know I have accomplished so much in a short amount of time. I just never imagined that it could be on this type of magnitude. And what's even crazier to me is I feel like there's still so much more to come. Like
Yeah.
coming into this year, I felt like, okay, I've made it to WrestleMania. I've held almost every title. I feel like I'm finally, you know, feel like I know what I'm doing. And then this year, the 2024, I feel like I learned so much in 2024, just switching over to a tag team about myself as a wrestler, about my art and my skill. And it blew my mind like how much I feel like I grew last year. And so I feel like I'm just now scratching the surface, even though I've already accomplished so much. But no, I mean, I feel like I always know I had big things in store for me, but I don't know, it's just been blowing my mind the amount of things I've been able to do in such a short amount of time.
Don't sell yourself short. The NXT time you were there was when it was selling out 15, 20,000 seat arenas. So,
Yes.
and being attached to WrestleManias and things like that. So,
Yep.
coming to Canada, SmackDown's coming up here. Elimination Chamber coming back to Rogers Center for the first time in 20, almost 30 years. It's crazy. The last time was WrestleMania 18, which was the first event I ever covered. Do you have any memories of coming up here to Canada that come to mind, and what are you looking forward to most about the coming back here for those two dates?
I would say in Canada, my very first time coming to Canada was with the WWE. It was for an NXT show for a takeover. And so that was like one of my very first memories. My husband had a match there. And then one of my most recent memories in Canada, we filmed an episode of Love and WWE Bianca Montez Elimination Chamber for my husband. So it's actually a lot of memories that don't even have to do with me necessarily being in the ring. It has to do with my husband, and that's what's cool about being married to someone in the business that we get to celebrate each other's wins and losses. But he had an amazing showing at Elimination Chamber. And then trying to think, we just had War Games there in Canada. So it's a lot of memories in Canada. We had a Christmas tour there. I love coming there. The crowds are amazing. And yeah, it's my very first time coming to Canada was with WWE.
And that chamber is such a launching pad for WrestleMania. There's two launching pads now. There's the Rumble and Chamber, both of which can change the trajectory of someone's career.
Yep. Yep.
Can we expect the trajectory of your career to be changing here in the next couple months if you have any say in it?
I mean, I would hope so. I'm someone who I've actually won the Royal Rumble before. I've won the Elimination Chamber before. So I have a lot of experience when it comes to these matches, and I'm just looking to rely on my experience. It's really hard if you're able to come out on top now with the Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber that speaks volumes because our roster is so stacked. I mean, 30 women in the ring for the Royal Rumble. You're the last woman standing with the roster that we have today. Speaks volumes. So that definitely means that that's going to change the trajectory of your career. You're going to go to WrestleMania. It solidifies your spot at WrestleMania, and then Elimination Chamber. If anybody's ever seen that match, everyone knows that that's a tough match. You have pods, you have a steel cage, you have women fighting to the end. Because that's really one of the last. That's really one of the last opportunities that will definitely solidify your spot to WrestleMania. So I'm hoping to use one of those two spots to get to WrestleMania. If not, then doing it with my tag team partner, Naomi, and going out there and defending our tag team titles at WrestleMania. But I definitely um expect to be at WrestleMania, either with Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, or with my tag team partner.
People get hurt in that match. Last question for you, very
Yes.
quick one. Which is cooler, being in a video game or having an action figure?
Ooh, that's really hard. I would have to say, oh, that's really hard. Probably being, oh, that's really, really, that's a hard question.
You got to choose character
Um,
video game or that action figure.
maybe that's so hard. Okay, maybe the video game, just because you see your facial expressions and you could see your entrance, and you know that it's really cool to know that like my nieces and my nephews and my stepkids, they're playing this video game, and you could see yourself doing moves. And for me, it's definitely special, because when I see myself in the video game, it's not just I'm seeing myself, like my character is wearing gear that I actually made. And then I got to be on the cover of the video game, which was a huge, huge,
Yeah.
huge deal with Rhea Ripley. So I would have to go with a video game, even though being an action figure is really, really cool.
Right on. Well, thank you so much. A pleasure to like have the first interview with you, and that's weird. So,
I
uh,
think this is my first interview of 2025.
well, awesome. It was a pleasure. Thank you again, and all the best. And we'll see you at Elimination Chamber.
Thank you. See you there.